Hi everyone, this is Aaron, and today we're going to review the Samsung Continuum. Now the Samsung Continuum has some interesting features compared to some other smartphones, and actually it's really one interesting feature. And we'll go over the design right now and kind of show you that. So what we have is a 3.4-inch capacitive touchscreen with a pretty decent resolution of 480 by 800 pixels, but it is a little bit narrow, as you can see, compared to, let me show you a Galaxy S Quick or a Fascinate Quick. It's a little bit more narrow than the other phones. So let's go over the interesting feature. Is this has this 3.4-inch screen here, but below it we also have another screen that is a capacitive touch screen and is 1.8 inches and 480 by 96 pixels. So it's kind of interesting, and you'll see that it's separated by the home and back buttons and things. I believe it's all the same screen, but maybe it's two separate. Engadget says it's two. It's hard to tell, really. So on the side, let's go ahead and look. Here we have a a camera button. As you can see, it's kind of got like a metal piece in there, and that's for the one of the other interesting features is when you hold this, it kicks this bottom screen on to give you some information. We'll look at that a little bit later. We have an SD card slot. Now this phone does have 2 gigabytes of internal memory along with an 8 gigabyte SD or micro SD card. On the back we have our speaker. We actually have dual speakers. We also have a 5 megapixel camera with flash that supports 720p video. On this side we have our micro USB and our volume up down that also has these capacitive touch kind of buttons on them. And we've got a dongle here. And on the top we have a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack along with our sleep wake button. So, and on the bottom we have our microphone there. The back does come off, and you can get to your battery under that, which is a 1500 milliamp battery, good for about 7 hours of talk time and 312 hours of standby. This runs Android 2.1, so let's go ahead and turn it on. It runs Android 2.1. It has the weird Bing interface that comes with Samsung. Now the interface overall is pretty nice, but why they're including Bing is kind of an odd thing. It does support 802.11b, G, and N, and it's a pretty nice phone overall, but let's go ahead and wait for it to start up here. So as you can see, you kind of see those both screens separated by this screen in the middle, and so you can see the screen is on down here, and what we'll do is before I wake this up, or unlock it rather, let's go ahead and shut it off, and you can see it's black now. If I grab the phone like this, you'll see the bottom screen turns on. If I grab this, let's turn this on, turn it off. If I grab the screen, the phone up here, it doesn't really do much. And I think what it's doing is making a contact with these and these. I'm not really sure, but it does turn on, and it gives you this information of which you can swipe at that point had you had any other information. It's a pretty nice feature. I don't know how many people will really like this, as it's different, but not a bad thing. And what we did here is I hit this button and it opened up all the feeds, so like Gizmodo, Engadget, Weather, Twitter, Joystick, all these different feeds I have in here, it automatically opened up, and it will scroll those feeds down the bottom as they change. So it's kind of neat to see that. A little bit different, and probably this phone would be a good fit for someone who has a lot of different feeds or is really into social networking. So let's go back and hit home. Now this is a 1 gigahertz Hummingbird processor. Like I said, it's running Froyo, or I'm sorry, not Froyo, Android 2.1, which is actually Eclair. Let's go ahead and show you the main screen. It's just kind of like any other Samsung phone at this point. Very standard. Pretty responsive, although sometimes it does feel a little choppy, as you can see. And it is just booting up, so maybe that's part of it, but usually it's pretty quick, but it does feel a little bit more slow than the Fascinate to me for some reason, and I think that might be, it's running these dual screens, whatever's going on here with that. That could be part of it. Now, the phone itself is pretty standard, like I said, like the others. Let's go ahead and go into applications, and these are your standard applications. You've got the 3G mobile hotspot, and that's a nice feature. If you pay for that, you get wireless internet along with you to use along with a laptop, and these are your kind of your standard Android apps that are installed. If we bring down the app drawer, it's just like the other phones that in the Galaxy S line. We've got our Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, GPS, airplane, and notifications. It's quite nice, and if you're playing music, it will pop in the music there. Overall, I think it's a pretty nice phone. Now, let me give you some of the impressions, though, that others have had on it. I don't really want to go into features too much because it's pretty standard beyond that. If you want those features, check out my Fascinate review or my Galaxy Tab review. Pretty much all the same thing as far as the way it works. However, some of the things I have to say on this I find kind of annoying is the keyboard is really tiny. So let's go ahead and unlock that. And we'll show you that in this memo program. Now the keyboard, okay, there we go. Yes, we'll delete that, whatever that was. And okay, so here we have our memo, and you can see the keyboard is, it's not that it's bad, it's just fairly small compared to the others because, especially me with larger hands, it's tough to get in here. With the narrowness of the keyboard, as you can see next here, here's the 4-inch Fascinate versus the 3.8. Even though it doesn't seem that much of a difference, it really is a big difference. In fact, I handed it to multiple people just to get their take on it, and they said the exact same thing. They had trouble typing on the keyboard. You know, you could rotate it this way, and it's fine if you hold it landscape. But in portrait mode, it just does not seem to be adequate enough for this phone. So I can say, you know, hello, my name. See, and I messed that up, but the space is over here, and it's just kind of awkward. That's probably the only complaint I really have about it. Otherwise, I kind of like the features with the feeds on the bottom. I found that kind of interesting, and you know, fairly pleasant. And battery life is good with the larger 1500 milliamp battery. So I really don't have anything more to go into it other than that. But it's pretty standard. You have your pinch to zoom in the browser, and like I said, I find it to be a pretty decent phone other than the narrowness of it. If you've seen any of the other Galaxy S lines, though, you definitely want to check it out against the Fascinate or the Galaxy, well, not the Galaxy Tab, rather, but some of the other brands on the other carriers that have, you know, like the Vibrant that are similar to this phone with the Galaxy S line. I think Samsung's done some really nice things with this phone, with the dual speakers and, you know, maybe for game playing this way. I think it's a really good social phone, and it's neat that you can get these updates quickly by just holding the phone like this. You actually aren't even pushing a button, you're just holding the phone, and it will kick on. And occasionally it will kick on, apparently. So there we go. I find you have to bridge this metal contact here. But once you do that, it kicks on. It's nice. It's kind of interesting to see. I don't know how many people are going to like this feature, but I think it's a neat feature if you really want to get feeds a lot and things like that. If you have any questions, though, please feel free to ask if I didn't answer anything you want to know. Like I said, it's a little bit too narrow for me, but overall a decent phone, built really well, construction's good, feels good in the hand. But again, ask any questions. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.